The Spiel 23 preview is now live on BoardGameGeek, and if you are familiar with what this is, you can head to this link, check it out, and ignore the rest of this video unless you're curious for a little behind-the-scenes information about how this preview comes to be and what you might expect to see on it in the future. For those who don't know what the Spiel 23 preview is, I'll break it down for you. Spiel is an annual game fair that takes place in Essen, Germany that attracts tens of thousands of gamers and publishers from around the world. There are publishers from roughly 50 countries that have signed up so far. The fair doesn't open for another 3 months, so more might sign up in the meantime. It's a big deal. 23 relates to the year 2023. That's very straightforward. Preview. This list shows new games that will be sold or demoed at the fair. Sold or demoed. When this list went live on July 3rd, it had 184 listings, which is a lot of titles, but not nearly as many as will be there when the fair opens on October 5th, 3 months from now. At this point, mere hours later, it now has 202 listings because since the preview went live, a number of publishers are like, oh, hey, I should get my information in there. And they've completed surveys that I sent out roughly 3 weeks ago. And we've now added some more titles to the list. There's another half dozen surveys that still need to be looked at. And I'll keep receiving information over the next 3 months and adding to this preview pretty much through the end of September. The Spiel 22 preview had more than 1,200 listings on it. So right now, this preview, the Spiel 23 preview, has about 15% as many titles as the Spiel 22. So there's a lot of information that will be added to that list over the next 3 months. It is a massive undertaking. I have assistant Stephen Cordell, who helps run through the previews and get back to publishers with questions about, do they have images? Will this be sold or demoed? What are the prices? Which version do you mean specifically? There's a lot of details that are listed on that preview, and you can find a lot of information there. There's game descriptions if you click on the little link below the actual listing. Kind of a shortened listing with the summary items, little highlights of what style of game it is, designer, playing time, number of players, all that sort of stuff. And click on it and you get the full description and full listing. We also have filters. There's a little link for filters just under the main information box. And if you click on that, you can search for games that have particular mechanisms in them, or by publisher, or by player count, or by price range. There's all sorts of things you can do. You can also tag the games. We have little tags: must have, interested, uninterested, not sure, undetermined, I think it is. And you can use a filter after you've labeled these games so that you see only what you want to see. You can see only the non-prioritized listings, so everything that's been added or that you haven't seen yet or decided on. You can also just look at undecided if you are specifically undecided and want to make a decision. Or just must have. You can have like a shopping list that you carry with you on your phone, or maybe not a shopping list, but a checkout list. Because lots of times you go to the fair and you just want to check it out and see what it looks like, because pictures and descriptions do not always match reality when you show up at the fair. Also, there's just that issue of 1,200 games, 1,200 items being at the show, and you probably don't have room for all of those in your suitcase or carry-on bag, so you have to make choices on what you're going to get. That's the whole point that this preview exists, so that ideally you can do research ahead of time if you're going to the show. If you're not going to the show, you can just see what's coming in the future. Or maybe you know someone who's going to the show, or you're going to order from a website, maybe dealing with games from overseas if you don't live in Germany, for example, or in Europe. And you can find out what looks interesting to you, or ideally get someone else to buy it and then you can play their copy. Maybe that'll happen as well. So it is a vast list, but the link up again, check it out, and it will grow quite a bit over the next 3 months. I even add to it, usually when I'm in Essen at the show and I see things that I didn't know were going to be there, and then I'll go to the hotel in the evening and I'll add those as well, just because I've got a bit of a completionist streak where I want this to be a comprehensive list of everything new at the show. And I know there's some qualifications there with new, because what's new to one person isn't new to another, and sometimes there's some wiggle room in terms of what's new and what's not new. That's okay. Try to be comprehensive, and I try to be up to date, because typically SPIEL releases a list of what's there, but they usually get information about that list, or at least in the past they have, around July, August. And then sometimes things change between that time and the time that the fair actually opens. Ship gets delayed, something will be demoed instead of sold, or prices changed, or something new gets added. Whatever the case is, I try to stay up to date on all of that and keep that preview updated. It's a massive undertaking. I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back. I'm just saying it really is a lot of work, but I love doing it. Again, that completionist streak where I try to get it all. That is my Pokemon challenge in the world. Must catch all the games that will be at SPIEL. Similarly, I have a preview for Gen Con. Gen Con opens a month from when I'm recording this preview. Recording this video. Here's the link to the Gen Con preview. That has 300 something listings right now. It'll probably get up to around 500 in the next month or so. There's a lot of things, a lot of games coming out, and I'm always a bit puzzled sometimes. How do all these publishers keep releasing so many games? Like, there's that many people out there that are buying all the games and making it profitable that they can keep doing this. I guess so far, we'll see. Pretty much since 2013, BGG advertising manager Chad Krijan and I have been saying, like, this has to be a bubble, right? How can this keep going for so long? And yet pretty much there's been a continuous upslope in terms of the number of publishers, number of games released, number of new designers coming in. It all continually seems to be escalating. Part of that, of course, is that most of the game playing that takes place, the game purchasing, all of that is completely invisible to the BoardGameGeek audience. People who just buy games, they don't register games in the database, they don't track sales, they don't track what's in their collection, right? If you have a username on BGG, you can track your collection, and you can record your plays, and notes about the plays, and post reviews and all that. And some obsessive types do that. Most people don't. They just buy games, play them, that's it. They don't record anything. So all this underwater activity taking place, people playing games, it's not seen. It's pretty interesting. And apparently it keeps a lot of companies going. So they have more things coming out that possibly you'll be interested in. I'll try to do some preview videos of things that I've seen. Haven't seen too much yet for SPIEL. I did get to play Coffee Rush. There's a lot of interesting components in here. This is a non-final copy of the box. So Coffee Rush, I'll give a little 1-minute overview here. It's like mini games in which you have customers coming in, you're trying to satisfy the order, you're collecting ingredients. You've got a little board here which sort of serves as the kitchen area where you're moving a little worker around, and you're going to get ice, and you're going to get cocoa, you're going to get tea leaves, whatever it is to satisfy these orders. What was really interesting about this game, the orders move down every turn, and they go off at the bottom, and you're penalized if you don't satisfy that customer. Again, we've seen this sort of thing before. The worker placement is a little different, but what's really different is sort of the pace of the game. I was expecting that we would score tons of points in this, and we didn't, because the game ends one of two ways. You can either run out of the deck of cards, or you can have someone get, I believe, 5 unfilled orders. Those are penalty points, and at that point, everyone's like, shut this down. We don't want this anymore. But the winning score, I think the highest winning score over 3 games was 7 points. I expected it to be like 30, all these orders coming through. But that doesn't happen because, interestingly, the pace of the game is sort of determined by everyone, because when you complete an order, your neighbors, the people on your left and right, have to take in the order card and put it in their display. I guess you're people buzzing about this. They're very excited about coffee. They leave my shop and they go to other people's shops to do things. So I don't know. That's how orders get in there. And the better someone is doing, the more customers pile up in other people's shops, which gives them a chance to fulfill their orders and score points, but also it just buries them with demand, and then possibly they're penalized. So there you go. Only played with 3 and 4 players. Haven't tried 2 players yet, but very interesting feel. Just received King's Crown. It's one of 3 titles from Korea Board Games. It's also Korea Board Games. Abstract games by a Go Grandmaster who is now retired and designing games. So it's kind of interesting. Haven't played that yet. Just got that. Also, just got a box. Let me open it the proper way here. From Devere. I get a few samples from publishers who, of course, would be happy if I show them off in a video, just like this. So here we go. 3 Ring Circus, a new game from, was it Lopiano? No. Yeah, Fabio Lopiano, Remo Consadori. Coming out from Devere, I believe at Gen Con as well, also be at Spiel. You're going to run a circus. As you can see, I have not played this yet because I just opened it. It just showed up. We'll see what happens over time and what I can do in previews in terms of showing things off. But if nothing else, head to the Spiel 23 preview, check out what's there, you'll see what's coming, and I'll keep adding to it. I love doing that. Also, it gives me things to write about in the news section. So that's cool. And if you're going to Essen, say hi. I'll probably run past you very quickly and say, oh, hey, thanks. Nice to see you. Have a good show. What did you play that was exciting? That's how we mostly get information when we're at the show. What did you play that's good? What do you recommend? What did you discover that you didn't know about before? Tell me the secrets.